B. Welcome to Big 12 Insiders. Again, doing these lives. I like these. These interactive lives. Not to mention, I have got a splitting headache, and the thought of me going upstairs to my studio literally was a nightmare. So I just said, you know what, we're doing this down here today. But let's get into this, man. Nico Iamaleava, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. If it's not, I apologize. But what's going on there at Tennessee, it's crazy what's going on. However, you can blame him. You can blame Tennessee. I said the other day that I side with Tennessee on this. I like the fact that they stood their ground. But the real person to blame in all of this is the NCAA. That is who needs to be blamed for everything that's going on. And I don't even think it's really up for debate. I'll be honest with you. What they did, what they've done. Look, they had no plan to ever pay players. And I know there's some people out there, oh, they're getting a scholarship. They don't need to be paid. Yeah, they do. They do. But that's neither here nor there, because that's what's happening right now. The problem is the NCAA didn't put any regulations, didn't put any rules in place. They were just butthurt about what happened. So they just said, screw it. We just won't do anything and let the Wild Wild West happen. Well, it's happening. It's happening. We've got a player that literally held out for money, if that's what you believe. You know, there's been conflicting reports that, you know, one side said that, yeah, he wanted more money and that he decided not to go to practice and meetings, you know, the day before the spring game. There's another one that said, yeah, he was looking to transfer anyway because he didn't like what was going on, the direction of the offensive system, that he was looking to get out of it. So depending on what side you want to believe, okay, it's neither here nor there. But the one thing that I would say is that we saw it coming. Everybody saw this day coming. But what we can't do is compare this to the NFL. There's a lot of people out there that want to compare this to the National Football League. I go, it's not the same. For instance, we see guys hold out all the time in the NFL. All the time. Hold out under contract for more money. For some reason, the fans always side with the owners on this. I just don't understand why you would do that. But whatever, they do. And the first thing they say, under contract, you got to honor the contract. But on the flip side, if a player isn't playing as well, or maybe they just have to get rid of him for salary cap reasons, when the team doesn't honor that contract, nobody cares. Like fans, hey, it is what it is. They got to do what's best for the business. Almost like players don't have to do what's best for them. That's weird. But whatever. Fact of the matter is that the NCAA caused this problem, but you can't compare the two. And when I say that is because in college, you sign, whatever you sign, first of all, it's not contracts because they don't have those. But whatever you agreed to is what you get paid. Like the school can't go back and say, no, we're not going to give you this. There's none of that goes on. So now we got a player that's hijacking himself and holding out for more money. Again, if that's what you want to believe. And it's crazy. In my opinion, it's crazy. But this is where we are, man. This is literally where we are. I got to get some of these crazy people out of here. So I apologize. Let's get rid of you. And let's get rid of you. So sorry about that. Just had to get people out of here. But as far as the NCAA goes, they're to blame. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. They are to blame for all of this. But now what do we do? First of all, I think the kid got bad advice. He didn't just do this on his own. He got bad advice from his parents, advisors, agent, whoever the case may be, because now he's going to get labeled. He's going to get labeled as selfish, get labeled as a kid that only cares about himself, doesn't really love football. He's going to get labeled all these things, whether they're true or not. You've seen it all over the internet now. And then we can say, well, he's not a kid anymore. Come on, Big B. He's getting paid, adult salary. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If you're trying to say that this still isn't a kid, you're wrong, man. You're wrong. He's still a kid. And it's okay to treat him with kid gloves. Somebody is advising him and gave him bad advice. And he followed it. He's trusting that the adults that are advising him, that's in his life, are going to give him the proper advice. Now, one thing that I agree with, or I believe, is that I don't think he would pull this stunt, this maneuver, whatever you may say. I don't think he does any of that without having a deal already in place. Like, I think he went around looking to get out, and this is the result. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's got a place that he already wants to go, and now he's going to go there. That's what I believe. And again, whether you like it or not, that's where college football is right now. But what I won't listen to, again, are the people that, it's ruining college football. No, it isn't. The NCAA did that. These kids aren't just because they want money that they are earning, by the way. They're earning this money. They haven't ruined anything to want to be paid for their services. And don't give me the scholarship is enough. No, it isn't. No, it's not even remotely close. Not even remotely close to what you bring to the table as a college football athlete for one home game. For one home game is way more, probably 10 times, 20 times the amount of what your scholarship is for 4 years. So we got to stop with that kind of nonsense, man. And I always find it weird that people want to, well, you went to college, you can't get paid. Why? Like, why do you think that? Why do you believe that? What rule is it that says you can't be compensated just because you go to college? Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. Like, if I went to college and I had to pay my way and I had a job that helped me pay my way, but I made way more at this job than what it costs for me to live and go to school, do I have to give that money back to the employer? So that's my whole thing. It's like, do you have to give that money back because you make more than what it costs to go to school and live and eat? I don't think you do. So then why are people just so hung up on players getting compensated? I don't understand why they're so hung up on that. That just doesn't make sense to me. Makes absolutely no sense to me. But this situation in Tennessee is all the NCAA is doing. They didn't do enough of their homework. They didn't care enough because they were so greedy. They were making all this money and they had no intention on paying any players, whether it's football, basketball, whatever it is. They didn't do that. They weren't going to do that until they were forced to do it. And now you could say, well, if the NCAA just doesn't do it, then what? Somebody else would have come along with the league and people would have just done that. That's all. I mean, but college sports isn't going anywhere, man. College athletics isn't going anywhere, and it's not being harmed. Again, I say this all the time, and I'm going to continue to say it because people get so bent out of shape and so weird about it. College stadiums are still full. People still watch in record numbers. Nothing happening with college football, college basketball. It's still around. Still, now we don't have to like how it's being played. We don't have to like the transfer portal. We don't have to like NIL. But again, it's like you don't like NIL, like you're mad that kids are getting money. Like, why are you mad that somebody, but I know what that is. It's just jealousy. People are jealous that kids are making more than what they're making. I get it. I understand it. NCAA always changing rules, especially players' equipment policy. They are. JoJo's right. They're always changing rules, but they don't change the right rules. They don't do things that are correct. They say they do stupid things. And I just don't understand the leadership at the NCAA is so bad. It's so bad. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, what does Tennessee do? Because Tennessee's in a bind here. I love what they did, though. Stand them up. Hey, sorry, we got to move on. We're not paying you more money. I totally understand that. We're not going down this road of giving you more money. You know, we're not. We're not going to be held hostage. We'll just move on. But they're going to be worse because of it. There's no doubt about that. I'm not saying Tennessee is going to be a bad football team, but they're not going to be as good. But sometimes you got to make that stand, whether good or bad, as far as what your record is concerned. Sometimes you just got to make that stand, and you just have to stand on it and say, hey, look, I like what Josh Heupel said, is that the program, nobody's bigger than the program. That nobody is bigger than the program. And since nobody's bigger than the program, we're not going to let you manipulate us in what's going on. We're just not going to let you do that. We want you here, but you made it clear that it was all about money. Now, again, he's going to get labeled, but some of this he brought on. But again, it's always the adults. It's always the adults, you know, in these type of situations. Because again, he's getting horrible advice. He should have shown up. If he wanted to transfer, just transfer. Don't make it about money. But instead, what he did was, I went out and got more money from somewhere else because of what somebody else got. Okay, great. But you have a deal with us. And if we're being honest, did Nico really play that well last year? That is one of the things that I think a lot of people aren't saying. Now, you get the trolls online that are just bashing him. I don't think he was terrible. But is that a $4 million quarterback? I don't think so. But maybe his thinking is, I would be a $4 million quarterback if I was in a different system. Okay, then just go be in that system and just leave Tennessee. And it's not like you didn't know what the system was. He's been at Tennessee for 2 years. He redshirted his first year, and then he started all year last year. So he knew what the system was. If you wanted to transfer, just get in the transfer portal and transfer. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But that's not what you wanted to do. You wanted to stay at Tennessee and get more money. You go to somebody else, they're offering you more money. You come back to Tennessee and say, hey, what can I get? Tennessee says, hell no, we won't go. And they call your bluff and they just say, enough's enough, we're done. And I believe that's part of it too. Whoever, you know, his representatives and all that, because I find it very hard to believe that Nico walked into Josh Heupel's office and said, I want more money. I don't believe the kid did that. I think his representatives did. I absolutely believe that, but I don't think he walked in there just demanding more money. I think the representatives said, hey, this is what we can get. He deserves this. Give him more money. Okay, that's fine. And Tennessee called the bluff and said, nope, we're not. And I applaud him. I really do applaud him. Sometimes you got to hold your ground, man. You got to hold your ground. But on the flip side, they're going to be worse for it. Because I'm not saying he had a great year, but he's talented. He's definitely talented. Now, if you're another program, what do you do? Like, do you want a kid who's got these type of representatives representing him? A kid that can be manipulated by these representatives because he's listening to them and they're giving him horrible advice. Because regardless, that's horrible advice, man. You know, that's horrible advice. If you didn't want to be there, transfer in December. But you were in the college football playoff and you couldn't. So now it's time to transfer. Then why did you go to spring practice? Just say, hey, man, I plan on getting in the portal. This isn't for me. You know, this just isn't for me. It's not working out. I loved it here, but it's not working out. We'll find out. We'll find out where he ends up. But the whole situation is a mess. And again, in my opinion, it's the NCAA's fault. The lack of leadership, the lack of wherewithal, just horrendous. Because again, we knew this was coming, but I just don't want people to try to compare this to the NFL because it's not the same situation. Because again, in the NFL, Yes, we see guys hold out all the time that are under contract, where they're only doing that to get more money because they know that an NFL team, if they underperformed or if they just had a salary cap issue, that an NFL team can and will cut you and won't honor that contract. It happens all the time. All the time. And I still am under the impression, like, why aren't they on the side of players when that happens? They always just say, well, it's a business. We got to do what's best for the team. But a player, if they do it, they're selfish. They're not team oriented. And I just can't a player do what's best for him? We always say that as a family, do what's best for your family. Well, isn't getting as much money as possible doing what's best for your family? Last time I checked, if you're at a job and you can get more money doing that job, shouldn't you do that? Or you just say, that raise that you offered me, I don't want it. I don't want the raise. Save it and do what's best for the business, man. I want to help the business make more money by not paying me what you could pay me. Nope, don't do it. When does that happen? So I appreciate you guys, man. I would go on further, but like I said, I got this crazy migraine. It is just literally just keeping my eyes open to even do this is a nightmare. So I apologize, but we'll be back tomorrow, as always, talking more Big 12, NCAA, transfer portal, all that good stuff, man. We'll find something good to talk about. I will talk to you later. If you guys are new to this and you catch this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. So I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you soon.